Welcome to Summoner's Rift. claws or whatever works at the time. Everyone has a price.
An enemy has been slain.
Wealth is my kind of burden. You're worth my time.
An enemy has been slain.
Get paid and get out. Wealth is my kind of burden.
Enemy double kill.
You can't take the desert.
Killing spree.
The only thing I look up to is the sky.
An enemy has been slain.
I've got values. They stack up nicely. I'll fight for our cause.
Has been slain.
Life's cheap.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Double kill. Enemy double kill. An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
Heroes go hungry. I go where the trouble fight for a cause. I won't die for one.
An enemy has been slain.
So many voices clash inside the data stream. Within the static, I know I'm not alone. In a world of color, I see
The only thing
Killing spree. Double kill.
it's not stealing if they're dead.
bright neon colors of the city lights. But
Laws are whatever works at the time.
in their tone, my mind is numb, life as a technolight.
Honor is the rust on a dull blade.
Though this world is
Your
not
team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. You have been slain. An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
I make my own fortune.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
Let's go make
Triple kill. Destroyed
is the rust on a dull blade.
Has been slain.
What's going on, guys? AFK Tech here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Dell S2716 DGR. So this Dell monitor is a 1440p 144Hz, mainly aimed at gaming monitor. So Dell dropped this probably about a year and a half ago, but I just got my hands on it, so we're going to go ahead and go through a review of it. One of the first things to note about the monitor is it is a TN panel. I am pretty impressed with the colors, as I'm coming from a U2515H, which is IPS, but there is some shortcomings that we'll discuss a little bit more into the video. So it has a glossy back panel, and it's on one of Dell's signature stands. It has all the fun adjustments that they've always had, but it is a little bit more of a matte gray versus their normal silver. On this stand, you can see a hole for cable management, which is pretty sleek. It's a little low, so you will be able to see it from the desk, a little different than some other monitors. And their logo on the back. For the front, you can see the different height adjustment that you have, and then as well as the rotate adjustment. So you can flip this from landscape into portrait mode, no problem at all. It is a little clunky, but it is a big monitor to be putting into portrait mode anyway. One other adjustment you have is the actual rotating of the monitor. So on the stand, built into the stand is the rotation of the monitor, allowing you about a 90-degree swing, total about 45 degrees in each direction. The monitor arm itself is attached to the panel with Dell's usual quick release technology, something I'm really used to seeing and love. So on the I/O, you got a USB 3.0 with 2 ports, HDMI, DisplayPort, an audio in, service port, which you won't use, and then of course your power. Then on the side of the monitor, you can see 2 more USB 3.0s from the hub that we saw down on the I/O panel, and a headphone out jack. So for the menu, I went through a couple of the settings. There's not a ton here. You have some limited color control with the RGB spectrum, so I used custom color for this using TFT Central's review, and I adjusted that, as you can see here, with a little bit of a change to the red, a little bit of change to the green, a little bit of change to the blue. Not a ton of adjustment needed, and it seems to do pretty well with the ICC profile that they had. So you got brightness and contrast control, input source selection, got the limited color options, some display settings, so response time, keep that normal. Audio, that'll set the volume for the headphone out, menu settings, and then some shortcut keys, as well as another menu with the monitor deep sleep. So with monitor deep sleep, I experienced an issue with the monitor not waking up if the display went to sleep in Windows, so make sure you disable that and that'll solve that issue for you. One of the hardest things for me to get over with this monitor is it is a TN based panel technology, as well as I've been using IPS for the latter part of 4 years. So let's go ahead and compare these two. So as you can see with the left, you get a little bit of a lighter color purple there. It's a little bit deeper on the IPS panel to the right. So this was something I noticed kind of throughout. You can't really see it in the video as well as you can when you're actually up close, but obviously viewing angles are not as great, and the colors do look washed out at some points in time. One nice thing about this monitor compared to my U2515H is it is a 27-inch, and I also like the stand color. So the old Dell color, kind of boring. This new matte black or graphite looking color is pretty cool. Now we'll go through some of the different settings. So as I said, this monitor is up to 144 Hz. So right now I'm moving this window around at 30 Hz. As you can see, it's pretty choppy. Definitely not something you want to be playing on. It's something you probably shouldn't be playing on. So now we bumped it up to 60 Hz. So as you can see, the window moving around is a lot smoother, a little choppy, but this is the standard refresh rate that you're going to see in most monitors and TVs that you use on a daily basis. So I bumped it up to 85 Hz. This just happened to be one of the settings that was in the monitor on the NVIDIA control panel. As you can see, you're kind of catching some flickering with the camera because they don't really line up. And then I bumped it up to 100. So as it's getting a little bit smoother. It's kind of hard to see. I shot this at 60 frames a second to try to catch that a little bit better than the normal 30 frames I shoot at. So let's bump it up to 120 Hz. So now you're seeing that things are getting a lot smoother. So yeah, the choppiness is still there, and that's mostly because I'm shooting at 60 FPS. But now when we get to 144 Hz, you can definitely tell that the window dragging around is much, much smoother than what we saw when we were at 30 Hz and 60 Hz respectively. So the use case that this monitor is mostly aimed at is gaming itself. With its G-Sync, 144 Hz refresh rate, and ultra-low motion blur, we're going to go ahead and jump into some Counter-Strike and see how it performs. So I opted to start off with 144 Hz, but for this video I'm doing 120 Hz ultra-low motion blur. So the thing that I saw with the 144 hertz versus the 120 hertz ultra low motion blur is obviously objects were much more crisp because the backlight's actually strobing it to make the pixels change faster. I think that extra 24 hertz is arguably not that important. I think you're going to benefit more from lag, input lag at this point, rather than actually more monitor refresh hertz. Overall, is pretty impressed with the performance of the monitor with this higher refresh rate, as I have been playing at 60 hertz for the longest time. There is some definitely noticeable when you're doing more spinning moves, things are much more crisp, and you can kind of track a lot better. It's not as choppy. I went back to 60 hertz a little bit on my 25 inch, and I felt like I had like 30 frames or something, or there's something wrong with my game. So that's just kind of a testament to your eyes may not be able to notice it right off the bat, but once you jump back to a 60 hertz monitor, you're going to be able to notice it absolutely no problem. Another game I wanted to test out, just to highlight the G-Sync technology, is Arma 3. So Arma 3 is a killer on frames when you're in a server with many people, 60, 70 people, and you're inside a city where all these people are operating in. So as you can see, I just rolled this truck, but I have G-Sync enabled now. And this honestly improved the experience greatly. So it's not something that is going to magically fix your computer if you're getting low frames. I think that's kind of a common misconception. But it's going to help you if you're getting down into that kind of rough area where things are getting a little choppy. It gets rid of that perceivable extra tearing and frame rate and lag that you get when your monitor is operating at 60 hertz and you're getting less than 60 FPS. I also noticed the OSD keys were kind of mushy and took a lot of pressure to actually register press. I'm actually not that impressed with the glossy black plastic finish on the back of the panel, as it's very prone to fingerprints as well. Overall, if you're looking for a new gaming monitor, this is definitely one you should be considering. With the 1440p, 144Hz, pretty dang good color for TN versus IPS, you can't really go wrong with considering this monitor as one of your next steps.